All right, let's talk crypto. You've heard the words, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum. It can sound super complicated, almost like a totally different language. And yeah, it can get deep, but I promise you, the big idea behind it all, it's actually way simpler than you might think. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to strip it all back and break it down, piece by piece.
So let's just start with a really big thought. What if money wasn't controlled by banks? Seriously, imagine for a second you could send money to a friend or anyone, anywhere in the world, and it just went. No bank, no credit card company, no one in the middle taking a cut or slowing it down. That single idea, getting rid of that middleman, that is the spark. That's the whole reason cryptocurrency even exists.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to cover what cryptocurrency actually is, the big question. Then we'll look at the problem it was designed to solve. We'll peek under the hood at how the tech, the blockchain, actually works. We'll meet the whole crypto family. It's not just Bitcoin. Then, the really important part, the risks versus the rewards. And finally, we'll talk about your first steps if you're curious. Let's get into it. All right, let's start at the very beginning. What is cryptocurrency? It's the big question, right? We got to get this down before we go any further.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition. A digital or virtual form of money that uses cryptography for security and operates on a decentralized network. Whoa, okay, let's unpack that. Cryptography sounds intense, but it's really just a super secure way of coding information to keep it safe. Think of it like a digital lock and key. But the real game changer here is that word decentralized. That's the magic ingredient. It means there's no single boss. No one bank, no government, no company is in control. It's the people using it who run the show.
And this chart really lays it all out, side by side. With traditional money, you've got governments printing it and banks controlling its flow. It's centralized. But with crypto, it's a whole different ballgame. It's not issued by any central authority, and it's designed to go directly from me to you, peer-to-peer, without asking a bank for permission. That's the fundamental shift we're talking about.
Okay, so we know what it is, but to really get it, you have to understand why it was created. This isn't just tech for tech's sake. There's a real origin story here, and it's key to the whole puzzle.
So picture the world before 2008. If you wanted to do pretty much anything with money, you had to go through a gatekeeper, a bank, right? They were the trusted third party for everything. But then 2008 happened, and right in the middle of all that financial chaos, this anonymous person, or group, we still don't know, called Satoshi Nakamoto released this paper, this white paper, that basically proposed a completely new way of doing things. And this one sentence from that paper, it says it all. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Boom. That's it. The goal wasn't just to make digital dollars. It was to build a system where banks became optional. It was a direct challenge to the idea that we need a middleman to trust each other with money.
So you might be thinking, okay, that sounds cool, but how on earth does that actually work? How can you have a system with no one in charge that's still safe and trustworthy? Well, the answer is the technology beating at the heart of it all, the blockchain. Let's pop the hood and look at the engine. Honestly, the easiest way to think about a blockchain is just like a digital notebook, a global one. Imagine a notebook that's copied and shared with thousands of people around the world. Every time a transaction happens, it's a new entry in that notebook. The key is, everyone can see it, but here's the kicker. Nobody can go back and erase or change what's been written. It's permanent. And it's these three properties that make the whole thing work. It's decentralized, which means no single person or government can just decide to shut it off. It's transparent, so anybody can look at the ledger and confirm that everything adds up. No hidden books here. And it's secure, thanks to that crazy strong cryptography we talked about, which makes it incredibly difficult to cheat or hack.
So what does a transaction actually look like? Well, first, you use your private key. Think of it as your unique secret digital signature to approve the payment. Then that transaction gets shouted out to the entire network. All these computers on the network, sometimes called miners or validators, they all race to check it and make sure it's legit. Once they agree, yep, this is good, your transaction gets bundled together with a bunch of others into a block, and that block gets locked onto the chain forever. This whole global verification process is what takes the place of a bank. Okay, so a lot of people hear crypto and their brain just goes straight to Bitcoin. And that makes sense. Bitcoin was the OG, the one that started it all, but the crypto universe has grown into this huge, diverse family. We're talking thousands of different cryptocurrencies, and many of them are designed to do totally different things.
So you've got Bitcoin, the original, which is really all about being a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Then you have something like Ethereum, which is a whole different beast. It lets people build apps on top of the blockchain. We call them dApps. Then there are stablecoins. Their whole job is to not be volatile. They're tied to something stable like the US dollar. And finally, altcoins is basically the term for everything else. Coins like Solana or Cardano, each trying new things, trying to be faster or cheaper or do something unique.
All right, we've talked about all the cool, revolutionary stuff, but now we need to have a serious talk, a reality check, because this world is still very new, it's wild, and while there are potential rewards, the risks are very, very real.
So, on the plus side, the benefits are pretty amazing when you think about it. You can send money anywhere in the world in minutes, not days. You are in full control of your funds. No bank can freeze your account. Every transaction is out there in the open, so it's transparent. And sometimes the fees can be way lower than what you'd pay in the traditional system. But you have to weigh that against the risks, and they are significant. First, volatility. Prices can swing wildly, up and down. Scams and hacks are everywhere. Bad actors love targeting new spaces. Also, governments worldwide are still trying to figure out the rules, which creates a lot of uncertainty. And this one is absolutely crucial. Transactions are irreversible. If you send crypto to the wrong address, it's gone. There's no customer service line to call to get it back. You really, really have to understand this stuff before you dive in. Okay, so if after hearing all of that, the good, the bad, and the volatile, you're still curious, how do you even begin to explore this world safely?
First things first, and this is non-negotiable. Educate yourself. Never, ever invest in something you don't understand. If you decide to take the plunge, stick with big, well-known exchanges. Learn what a crypto wallet is and how to secure it, especially hardware wallets if you have more than a tiny amount. And please start small. Only ever use money that you would be perfectly okay with losing. Think of it as the price of your education.
And that leads right into having the right mindset. This is so important. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a lottery ticket. You should treat this like you're learning a new skill, a complex one. The goal should be to understand the long-term potential of the technology, not to get hyped about short-term price jumps. The key is to stay curious and keep learning, because believe me, this space changes by the hour. You know, if you take away just one single thing from our chat today, let it be this idea right here. Cryptocurrency isn't just about digital money. It's bigger than that. It's a whole new way of thinking about what ownership means, who we trust, and what freedom can look like in our digital lives. Look, we've really just scratched the surface today. We've touched on digital cash, these smart contracts, this whole idea of decentralized networks. So I'll leave you with a question to mull over. Now that you know the basics, what part of this whole new financial world are you most curious to explore next? Because the learning journey, it really starts now.